Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the EmpowerMAN podcast. It's your boy, Mikey G. We are celebrating Thanksgiving week, and I have my Christmas colors on, so I'm already bypassing Thanksgiving, getting ready for Christmas. It was not planned this way, but I just realized I have red and green. So, fa-la-la-la-la into this episode, and I am joined by the man who is just a sight to behold. His shoulders are as large as the Grand Canyon. His quads are like AR-15s. His anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hon.
That's right.
You can do side bends or sit-ups, but please don't lose that butt because a man can squat over 400 pounds. As we stated last week, he's my boy. He's your boy. He is the champion of the Second Amendment. He is the proud parent, the proud patriot, and by golly, he's America first. Greg A. And the A stands for ammunition. Fedora, the first. And, sir, a lot of ammo today. Only kidding. Only kidding. How is your week going? Are you getting ready for Thanksgiving? Now, we got to tell people this is going to come out on Sunday after Thanksgiving. So you're going to get a little behind-the-scenes look at a Greg Fedora holiday.
Yeah. Thanks for the intro, Mike. Welcome. I am ready. I am in charge of the turkey, as always, and I am a deep fryer. So I'm a fan of that. So I will be injecting it not with testosterone or hormones, but with some seasoning.
Damn it.
I know.
Damn it.
And I will be deep frying it in a nice peanut oil because it's very healthy. And we have it's pretty awesome. I've been doing that for a few years now.
Peanut oil. How did you get the peanut oil?
Just was researching different recipes, and it's just a good oil to cook it in.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, I love peanut butter, but I can't. I have to do the.
No, it doesn't taste like peanuts.
No, it doesn't.
No. Thank God.
Yeesh, man.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully everyone that will have listened to this on Sunday have had a good Thanksgiving and realized what the holiday's for.
Hopefully, still hungover.
Still hungover.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of leftovers.
Yep.
I know. It's always take time to give thanks for what you have and think about those who are less fortunate. Hopefully, we still honor that tradition. And as usual, I want to give a shout out to our men and women in blue, our firemen and women, our EMTs, our first responders. Thank you always for what you do and for keeping our communities nice and safe.
Absolutely. And shout out to all the military personnel out there, all in country, out of country. We really want to thank you for your service. Happy holidays. Stay safe to you and your families. And thank you for what you do for us.
Yes, always. And along those lines of military personnel, we did want to do a veterans episode with our good friend Chris Cadigan, but our schedules just couldn't align. But
he's a little busy right now.
Just a tad.
Yep.
And we will be having him on, and we will be doing a Veterans Day episode, but it's just going to come a little bit later down the road because, we shouldn't just honor our veterans on one day. We should honor them every day. So he will be on. Greggy T, your apparel's looking pretty good there, sir. That shirt and hat combo.
Yeah, man. This is Rogue American hat, and this is Platoon Daddy shirt. We got mind, body, heart, and of course, keep shooting your guns. That's it. It's called balance. It's balance.
Called the 4 agreements, if you ask me.
It's called my blood type.
Your blood type.
Yes.
Correct. And I'm wearing a Titleist hat.
Yes.
Because I am teeing off tomorrow.
I know. I'm jealous, man. I wish I could play with you.
Yep. 2:10 tee time. Me and my buddy Brandon are going to go play 9 to 18, considering, how much time we go through. So definitely looking forward to taking a break from the norm. I know you and I with our work weeks are get kind of hectic, and I'm looking forward to just zoning out and just relaxing over the holiday weekend.
Hopefully the golf cart has forward. Not just reverse.
And enough juice where it doesn't stall out on like the 9th hole, and I have to
it was awesome.
Abandon it another 9 holes.
We got those people so drunk.
We did.
It was good. That was a good time. Anyway,
moving on to today. A very popular topic today. A lot of guys go through this. I'm sure a lot of women go through it as well, but I hear mostly the guy's perspective.
Yep, same here.
Being ghosted. And it kind of ties along the lines of not own anybody, anything. It's kind of a popular topic because people get ghosted. Hey, that was God's plan. Right? There we go. Okay, we're back. So, being ghosted kind of correlates with an expectation, like someone owes you something. And I think we talked about that last week. And I wanted to kind of piggyback off of last week's episode, which was really one of our, I think, one
Yeah.
of our most in-depth episodes. I think it really, the feedback we got was really, really good on it. And
I got a lot of questions. Who did I bodyguard? I'm not going to say her name, but I wish her well. She's doing good.
yeah,
Everyone's hit me up.
that's just only between me, you, and the four walls that we
And my mom.
occupy. Your mom.
Told my mom.
Yeah. Greggy T, first off, let's break this down. Have you ever been ghosted, or have you ever ghosted anybody?
I've never been truly ghosted. I did ghost somebody in college. It was a funny story. So my buddy who went to Lynn University, which is right down around the corner from FAU where I went.
Yeah.
Pretty much my best friend in college. He was a year older than me. We went on a cruise, and I think the cruise was went to the Bahamas, and we met some older females on the boat, and we had a good time. And then I forgot where she lived, some state other than Florida, and we were talking a little bit, and she was going to come in to visit, and I did ghost her at the airport.
Okay.
Hey, I was young and stupid, but just got that feeling and I just went with it. I didn't want to be bothered.
But did you owe her anything? Like, did you owe her an explanation? Was she a lifelong friend? Did you know her for
No.
more than a day?
No. Was
2
it the
days,
right
a
thing to
week?
do? No. I didn't owe her anything, though. No, to answer your question. But
So that's where the lines kind of get blurred, because is ghosting kind of like a adjective to describe not for someone not meeting your expectation, or is it a real thing, or is it like a falsified kind of justification for people's behavior? Because we talked about it last week. Like, you didn't owe her anything. Was it the right thing to do? Maybe not. But it's not like it was like a contract saying like you owe me a text if you're not going to be there or not.
correct.
So you think ghosting becomes more like a morality thing, like a more like a right versus wrong thing?
Listen, it's a right versus wrong thing, but in my opinion, at the end of the day, it's the person's internal battling with something. They have an issue with something, whether it's
Right.
communication or a previous experience or whatever. They're dealing with something the way they think is right, or just we'll get into it more, but I just think it's a deflection, or they don't want to face certain things. But I think they're battling with something else besides just being straight up with the person.
Like in your experience, where you just stopped ghosting, where you ghosted this individual, you're obviously young.
I was
So there's
so
a
young.
there's a certain maturity factor
Yeah,
that
I
comes
was an
into
idiot.
play.
I was completely young and stupid.
Do you think with everything going on socially that this term ghosting came about because a lot of these, we'll just say the younger generation kind of feel entitled, and when they don't get their way, they kind of want to justify like it by saying, "Oh, I got ghosted," and they become more of a victim. Like, 'cause I mean, when I was
Yeah,
younger, I never thought of the term ghosting. I was just like,
yeah.
"Oh,
Me neither.
whatever, go whatever,
Yeah,
do you." But now it's like it seems to be like a trend that's happened over the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 years or so. What are your
yeah.
thoughts on that, Greg?
No, I think you're right. And this wasn't a thing, like you just said, for you. It definitely wasn't a thing for me when I was younger. If I didn't want to continue hanging out with somebody, I just tell them, like, I don't want to hang out with you anymore, or vice versa, whatever. It's all good.
Right.
But I think nowadays, yeah, the entitlement is completely out of control, and the younger generation is just, it's pathetic in my opinion. I'll just say it. And a lot of people, whether they say it or not, they don't respect them
I agree.
for reasons like this. This is just one of them, and they all want to play the victim. They want instant gratification, no matter what it is, in what category, whether it be like work, relationships, or money, or whatever. And I think labeling something is just another easy way out for them. And I
Mm.
got ghosted. It's like a talking point at a party or a conversation or whatever they do. and it's just a stupid term now that's thrown out to make it socially acceptable within their little group. So
Right. And I also feel like entitlement equals expectations. I'm entitled. I'm entitled to this. Therefore, I expect you to do this. I expect you to do that. So, what is one of the ways that like someone can kind of break the ghosting trap? Like, how do you not fall into the trap of being a victim of being ghosted?
it's you have to change your mindset. So you can't control what somebody else is going to do. Period. So you can, as I'm talking about guys now,
Yeah, yeah.
guys could always get ghosted by girls. It's just a fact. It is what it is. But how to protect yourself from it? You just don't change who you are. Continue to be honest and upfront. If they ghost you, have some balls, have some self respect, and the discipline enough to just move on.
Move on.
And don't give them the time of day. That's all it is. Just be a man and pick up, move on, and attract someone else. There's nothing more you can do. They don't deserve any of your power, your emotions, your time after that. Period. They ghosted you. Okay, great. They had their reasons, whether right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. They did it for why they did it, but you as a person should not be affected, especially if you're
Agreed.
dating early on. If you're in a relationship for years, yeah, that there's something way deeper than that. And yeah, that can like mess your head up. I get that.
Mm,
But for the guys that are out there in the dating world, no matter what age you are, it's going to happen. And there are different reasons why it happens. And there's nothing you can do about it except don't let it affect the good person that you are, your intentions, and what you really want in your life. And just keep it moving. That's it. And don't give them a second chance.
yeah.
That's just my opinion. I know it's hard. A lot of people are like, oh, you give somebody a second chance. Well, usually the true colors are shown in that.
Mm.
And if you can hindsight, go back, maybe you can see other things that led up to that. And you're like, oh, look, I overlooked that. And here we are here. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah. And I think along those lines, ghosting could possibly be a good thing in a way. Like
100%. It definitely saved you time in the long run. Yes.
like your internal clock told you not to like hang out with that woman at the airport, right? And I
Hmm.
think we can get in situations, especially guys can get in
Yeah.
situations where you'll see some red flags,
Hmm.
and then it's just like, okay, I'm done. Do you think
Yeah.
do you think if a guy's in a situation where he sees a red flag, should he pick up the phone or text or explain, hey, listen, so and so, this isn't going to work out. I wish you all the best. Or should they just cut it and run?
It depends on what they really want as a result. Do you really want to know? Then confront it and try to get an answer. But you got to take that answer with a grain of salt because they're probably going to not like to have that conversation. And are they being honest? Are they telling you the truth or whatever? But if you really want to know, put it out there and ask. And
Right.
if you want to go stay, because it's just not worth your time, then do that. You do what you feel is right.
Yeah. And if you don't get a response and you continue to get ghosted, that should be your sign like,
It's a
okay,
blessing, man. It's a blessing because you could have been 3 months, 6 months, a year and a
yep.
half into it. This could have happened then too. And it's definitely for the better. Definitely.
Here's one for you. Do you think we've become so cynical as a society that when you, let's just say, well, you've been at a dating game for a while, but if you were in the dating game, you meet someone, you're talking, you're almost like waiting for it, like, okay, this isn't going to last long. It's like, when is it? When are the true colors going to come out? When is this going to like end? Like, when is the all being into me and the communication? Do you
Mm,
think guys that are jaded, or like we talked about last week, people that have been privy to seeing things from a different lens,
mhm.
do you think there's almost like, all right, prove me wrong that you're not gonna like disappear?
Listen, I say that all the time. Prove me wrong, but and I said this last week. I think you don't want to sabotage something that's not going wrong by expecting the floor to drop out beneath you at any point
Right.
because you're not going to be able to truly enjoy the moment. But it's hard not to do that when you've had certain experiences and seen certain things, like you said. So it's a fine line to walk. But I don't think there's anything wrong in saying prove me wrong, because if 10 people walk down the road and make a left, prove me wrong that you're going to make a right, because
Mm.
everyone's made a left when they said they were going to make a right. Like, talk is cheap. You got to walk the walk. Show me. Show me. But don't let it affect you until that point with the whole sabotage or self-sabotage of that brief relationship, whatever you want to call it, dating experience, whatever.
So along the lines of self-sabotage, what other reasons do you think people can conjure up, or let me rephrase this. What are other reasons why someone would ghost someone?
It's easy. It's the easy thing to do. There's no accountability. There's no looking in the mirror. There's no answering of questions. If somebody has questions why they did it, there's just no accountability. And I'm going to say it, most of the girls nowadays, and even some of the older women, they don't want to be accountable. So the easy thing to do, which everyone's looking for the easy road, which I said earlier, is just
Right.
ghost. I don't have to deal with it. I'm not going to get any questions. I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to have to answer that. I'm not going to have to look within myself and see, wow, the real problem's probably me or something that happened to me in the past or whatever. It's just out of sight, out of mind. Just ghost.
Do you think the way you perceive yourself can affect if you ghost somebody or not?
Yeah, I can. I mean, listen, we hear stories from our friends that are dating,
Mm.
and all these girls talk a great game, and they, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm super communicative, and I'm a good girl and all this stuff, and then it just usually falls short, and a lot of the times they ghost, and I can see why. They don't want to face facts. So, but they perceive themselves a certain way, but you're really here.
Mm.
So there's a problem there. Like they have like false expectations of themselves, but they believe their own lies. And they go around with this persona and this mask on that it's like the bait and switch. Like, hey, look at me. This is me. I'm so put together. But then behind closed doors, it's a fucking mess. It's a
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you think about it, it's like, if you've known somebody for like a week or, a couple, all right, whatever, like it's
Mm-hmm.
nice, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
like, long-term relationships, especially
Mm-hmm.
like in business or like a friendship where it just goes radio silent.
Yep.
Like, what do you think? Like, first off, what do you think would cause something like that to say, hey, you know what? After 7 years of being in business with you, I just stopped. And you reach out a few times to get the picture, it just stops. And you're like, wait a second, I've been doing work with you for 7 years. Why aren't you reaching out to me? Because, like, why do you think that would happen?
I don't know. I think about that a lot because of the industries we're in. But I can say, okay, I'll use this is a different example. We used to have a gardener, that did our lawn,
Mhm.
and he was awesome. His crew was great, always on time, scheduled, all this stuff. Then it started, oh, I can't make it this week. I'll come next week. Okay. And then I would have to call him to do certain things. Oh, your guys missed this. And it just started to deteriorate. But then he just stopped coming. I didn't cancel. He just ghosted me as a client. And I'm like, wow, here I am. I'm a good client, never questioned price, always paid him when he was there, like never an issue, like cash here, let's go, done. Never had to chase me for money. Yet I didn't know business was that going that well where you can just ghost clients. That's very strange to me. That's bad business. And not all people are business people, despite how good they are at their profession or their job or their skills or whatever they do. It's just an example on a different foot. You know what I'm saying? Your example where a long-term client, man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, we don't know what they're going through, or once again, maybe it's just they didn't have the ability or I don't want to say the strength to just call somebody up and be like, listen, I don't want your services anymore. I appreciate all that you've done, But you know what? I think I'm good now. I don't get that. I really don't get that. Maybe they just couldn't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a great call you made too, because you never know the battle someone's fighting, and I think that's one of the things when you're a victim of being ghosted, you have to keep that in mind. Like everyone's fighting a battle we know nothing about, and we
Yeah.
could sit here and point fingers and say,
Mhm.
this and that, which is true. And even at the
Mhm.
time when I meet, we all go through stuff. So I think that's one of the reasons that things you have to keep in mind. It's like, maybe that person is depressed. Maybe that person somebody else. Maybe that person can't decide what they want. So it's kind of a
But
hard,
it's
yeah,
hard, but that brings me to my point I said before. It's not, don't waste any more of your time trying to
right.
unwrap that because you'll never really know anyway.
No,
You'll never know the truth. So stop wasting your time digging why. Move on. Move on because there's somebody better. There's more business to be had. There's more relationships to be had.
yeah,
So there's nothing you can do. You can't control people. People are weird. People are lazy. And a lot of people have a problem communicating and they just don't want to take accountability. And at the end of the day, 99.9% of the time, it's just because they don't want to deal with themselves. That's it.
yeah. And I'll say this too. I think there's still some effects of the pandemic, of being locked down, of being isolated. I
Yep.
think people have conformed in certain ways of like you and I work for ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
we're alone most of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
you have your family and I have my little social
Mm-hmm.
gatherings that I go to. But
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, we're isolated. And I
Yeah.
think isolation can play a big role in especially meeting people online. Like,
Yeah.
people will go on Facebook, meet somebody they see as a friend, they'll DM, you start a DM exchange, then you reach out, they don't write back, then you reach out again, they don't write back, and you're like, oh, okay, like what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
why are you ignoring my things? I see that you read, and we become obsessive. We start to analyze every little thing, like, oh
Yeah.
my God, you went to the store, but you couldn't respond to my text. So
Yeah.
I think making sure you're not isolated and making sure that you're not, alone will I think will help kind of safeguard the effects of being ghosted and always keeping
Yeah.
yourself busy, keeping yourself stimulated. Is that safe to
Yeah.
say, Greg?
No, it is. And I think, listen, it would be a lot better if people just kept it real. Everyone likes to talk shit. Oh, I'm real. I keep it real. I'll tell you how it is. Man, no, they don't. Most of them don't. They don't tell you straight up how it is. If take our friend that's dating. If they meet somebody and all of a sudden they ghost and they confront them and they're like, oh well, I started dating somebody else. No, it's all good. Like you said, you didn't owe me anything. But you can just tell me. It's all good. I don't really care. It's fine. Or if you want to date 100 people, yo, it's all good. It is all good. Just tell me, But getting back to your pandemic thing, I think that's
Uh-huh.
that's a good point you made because listen, you're social, I'm not. And
Mhm.
it affects people that want to be out and want to meet people. Like I'm totally okay not seeing anybody. That's just that's just me. But I can see that having an effect on this for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And I think, I think, God, I had a thought. It'll probably come back to me about ghosting. And oh, this was it. Like this was
Mm,
one of my, when you first meet someone, whether it's it doesn't matter what type of relationship you're in, whether it's a friendship or like that. I like when people preface something by saying, "I don't normally do this. I'm not like that. I don't, I always have to make sure, and we're all guilty of saying it. I know I've said that 1,000 times because I want people to know, like, hey, I'm not this type of person. But that's where your actions and your words need to line up. And I think, when people say something and then they pull in, pull another action,
yeah.
that's where, like you said, you have to draw that line in the sand. Do
Hmm.
not waste another breath. Like Robin said,
Nope.
when someone tells you who they are, do not ignore it. And those were kind words I never forgot.
Yeah. And it's a real pet peeve. I'm not trying to get all fired up today, but it really bothers me when people just can't be honest and real. It is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be a badass and think they're this, and all the girls out there, oh, I'm a boss lady, I'm this, I'm that. but you can't even find your way out of a paper bag.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have don't even have a relationship with yourself. So how are you going to do it with somebody else? And it's really not that hard.
Yeah. Well, we talk about too, I think, the dangers of ghosting, especially now in this climate.
Hmm.
What are some of the dangers that you would see in ghosting someone, or being ghosted, and how that can affect just, I think, your overall perception of relationships when it comes to members of
Hmm.
in a intimate or
Yeah.
business or friendship.
I think well, the I'll answer the second part first. When someone gets ghosted, like I said, there's nothing you can do about it. All you can control is how you react to that situation, which should be the same if it happens again and again. They did you a favor.
Oh
You
yeah,
can try to get clarity by asking questions. To be honest with you, as I'm older, I wouldn't waste my time even asking that because it doesn't matter.
doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter. Their actions were shitty, and you just move on.
Yep.
But the as far as the first part of the question, the danger of continually ghosting people, listen, it's a big world, but it's also a small world at the same time.
That's right.
And your reputation's all that you have.
That's right.
And you can start getting the reputation of, oh, they're just, you can't trust them because it bleeds into trust when you continually ghost people, whether it's personal or business. Business, it goes real fast.
Mhm.
That word gets out fast, and they're like, yeah, don't use that person, don't use that person. They're gonna sell you the golden bridge and then not deliver. So that spreads real quick. And it also in the personal, in the dating scene, listen, word gets out, and you hear about certain people, and that's that.
Yeah, it's almost like a coping mechanism. It's like,
100%.
I think a lot of it might come from, like, past trauma or childhood, or
Yeah.
I hate
Or
going
they're
back
trying to
to
be
that,
somebody they're not.
trying to be somebody they're not.
Yeah.
And I think, it, like you said, the more you practice this, the more you kind of believe the lies
Yeah.
about yourself. And
Yeah.
then that can manifest into, all right, well, I'm just going to stop talking to Greg and not
Hmm.
like use his services, or I'm just going to stop talking to so and
Yeah.
so, or I'm just going to talk. And it's hard to tell somebody no. It
It
is.
is. Yeah, you're right. It is. But you, if you want to be professional and you want to have some sort of mutual respect, listen, if somebody doesn't want to use my services, no problem. But I'd like to know why, because maybe I can plug a hole where there's a problem, or maybe learn from it so it doesn't happen again, or fix something that needs to be fixed. It's like an exit interview when a company lets go of somebody or
100%.
somebody quits. I think, and a lot of companies don't do them anymore. And I think
Oh, wow.
every company should do them because that's where you learn a lot, and I think that's the same type of thing with this.
Yeah. Like, I have, especially when it comes to your buddies that, like, are in sales and they want to sell you something, like,
Yeah.
I have a buddy of mine that's constantly trying to sell me stuff. And, I of course I want to help out,
Yeah.
but if I get like a text or this and I forget to respond, I look at him like, oh, I just want, and then I go back and say, hey, I'm really sorry. I try to avoid it and just, focus on him and his family, because he's a
Yeah.
great guy. And he's
Hmm.
one of my buddies. He's a great guy. But I feel like every time we talk, it's like, do you know about this? Do you know about that? And it's like, listen, I have, I have about this much space left in my brain to think about things. My life is pretty much an automatic pilot because of the way, with everything we've got going on. The last thing I need is,
But
so
he's in sales and he's doing what he has to
right.
do. So I understand it to a degree. To
And
a
he also
degree.
cared. And he also cares. It's not like of course we all want the sale,
Yeah.
but it's also, he actually cares. So it's like, hey,
Hmm.
want to make sure you're set up here, set up there, set up there. And I get it. I mean, when, when my friend's daughter's selling Girl Scout cookies, she goes for the family, and we all, but it's kind of being cognizant of, like, hey, like, I'm not ghosting you. It's just I have this
Yeah.
much going on right now. I'm really sorry to get back to you.
Well, that's different. I think if there's a delayed response, that's not ghosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong in that. I mean, we're all busy, so. But yeah, I think the whole entitlement has taken it to another level. But I also think ghosting is so common now.
which is crazy to me.
But that's the young, and that's the Instagram, and that's all that social media shit. That's a negative effect of it. I think one of.
Do you think it's age appropriated, or you think that ghosting from 15 to 80
It's funny.
do it?
In my opinion, it used to be younger, and now it's like it's in every age category. And shame on
Crazy.
the people our age or older that are doing it because they should know better.
Like I can see if something happens, right? You go out to dinner, girl gets drunk and acts like a complete like jerk. Like I could see, like, okay, like goodbye. I'll block you, delete you, you're done.
Yeah. Or if
You
she
know what I
stalks
mean?
you,
Or if she stalks you,
that's a problem.
that's the problem.
Hmm.
So there's a time where I think ghosting's warranted. You
Yeah.
know, but
But that's not, yeah, yeah. It's technically ghosting, but yes, it's completely warranted in certain circumstances. Yeah.
well, that's the thing. Maybe we can help clearly define what ghosting is. Like I think like you said, it's an easy way out
It is.
of facing
There's
certain
no
truths.
accountability. You don't have to do anything.
No,
Just don't pick up
no,
your phone, don't return a text, block a number, and
yeah,
poof, problem's gone.
it's wild,
It is wild.
really, really wild, and it's a phenomenon, especially now. I think as we progress in our society, and as we get more technologically advanced, AI,
Yeah.
everything else,
Yeah.
I think it's only going to get worse.
It
And
is. The communication skills of the younger generation suck. No one has they don't have to talk anymore. It's weird. Oh, snap me, Snapchat me. I don't even know. I'm not on any of this stuff, but I know they use that. And I'm like, why don't you just text your friend? It's like, well, this is faster. I'm like, well, technically, if you want to make an argument, it's the same thing. She goes, you can send it to multiple people. I'm like, you can do a multiple. It's the same thing. I don't know. It's just a different platform. I just think my point is either way, there's no communication, and they don't talk anymore on the phone. They
no,
don't talk in person. Forget it. Definitely not. But on the phone is out. That everyone hides behind text, where that's a problem because you can't feel the tone of a text. So you don't know if they're being funny, if they're being an asshole, they're mad, they're sad, they're happy. You don't know. You're just reading something, and it could cause problems. When a simple phone call, a 2-minute phone call, could clear everything up. I don't know. With more technology, AI, it's just less and less real communication, which will lead to more problems.
yeah, I remember, and I just had a thought. I remember when Tinder first came out, like in the 2010s. I think it was like it's been out for a while. I believe if there's someone out there that knows the exact date and feels
Mm.
that I'm off, please correct me. But I can remember in Tinder in its infancy stages, and my buddy was telling me about it. He's like, "Joe, man, just go on this app and you can see who's out." And
You
I
can
was
see who's
like,
out anyway when you're out.
"Exactly." And
Pick your head up, look around.
it kind of deducts the science of going up to someone and approaching someone like we used to in the old days, where now if you do that, you'll be in cuffs and you'll be
You had to have game back in the day, and that's what was so respected. And even the women respected it. They wanted to be spoken to, and you needed to be on point when you spoke. Now you shoot a text or whatever, and it's just, I don't know. The whole thing is weird to me. It's
well,
weird.
back in the day. I don't know if it's like this now, but most girls like being courted. When you
Yeah,
court
but I don't even
somebody,
think. Agreed. I don't even think the girls nowadays would know what courting is because it's never been done. They don't see it. They're not shown it. The younger guys definitely don't know what that is. So it's like, yeah, that's like a lost art. Everything's a lost art.
oh
Weird.
my god, you're so old that you're calling me.
I can hold the door myself. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
no,
that's
that's cool.
that's a big one. And the more I had lunch with a friend of mine the other day, and the more I talk to members of the opposite sex,
Hmm.
and just in conversation, the more I see that a lot of women don't really know how to be treated. And the
Of course
nice
they
thing
don't.
about it is the chivalry stuff doesn't cost a dime.
No. Lost art.
Lost art.
Everything's going in the wrong direction. Lost art.
Well, I think also everything has a price tag on it now. So it's like
Yeah.
people overlook, oh, okay, so he doesn't do this, but he buys me things, takes me to dinner, feeds me.
You ever see those
or
interviews on Instagram? They have these like these stupid little girls out and they're asking people questions on the street, or the guys too, and they're like, they go up to all these like girls, they're like, oh, what does a guy have to make to date you?
Huh.
500K, a mil. Guys like, what do you? This one guy was cool. I respect. He goes, what do you bring to the table? She got pissed. She's like, well, I don't have to bring anything to the table. He's like, no. If you want him to make X, what do you bring?
Right.
And she was like, look at me. And he's like, yeah, I'm looking at you. It's definitely dime a dozen. There's nothing special there. What? That's not bringing anything to the table.
Right.
You can't answer it. She got pissed and walked away. There's your typical person nowadays.
And that covers even when you have political conversation with someone. When no one has facts to back it up, they'll go to a default response.
Of course.
For everything.
Mm-hmm. And this is, we are not in a good way. In any category, we're not in a good way.
No.
So it's crazy.
It really is. And I think also too, with one of the ways I think to protect yourself against ghosting is, I mean, it can happen to anyone.
Yep.
But for you not to get offended, you have to really know the person. Like if you don't know the person, whatever, but if you know somebody and they ghost you, then it's like, what the heck's going on? Like, Greg, why aren't you picking up the phone? Or Mike, why aren't you picking up the phone? Like, if you're, without having a conversation, at least, or explaining, I mean,
but how well?
Merit?
Yeah, but how well do you know that person, or how well do you think you know that person?
Right.
Because they may have great attributes, or on paper be amazing, their pedigree, all that, but do you know them?
No.
So it's the same thing, in my opinion. Listen, no matter if you know somebody 5 minutes or 5 weeks or 5 months, when they ghost you, you just got to believe in yourself and just keep it moving. They did it for a reason. You'll never know. Move on. You'll never know. So don't waste any time. And you know what? Their loss. Have some confidence and have some self-respect and be like, thank you. You did me a favor. Move on.
Yeah. Count your blessings. Tell you that
Absolutely. Because that was just the tip of the iceberg. There's probably a lot more shit behind that you don't want anything to do with. And I'll be a little harsh. That's probably a reason why they're in the stage they're at in their life. They all want to complain, but at the end of the day, these are your choices. Ghosting somebody is a choice. So you're choosing to do that. So you make your bed, you lay in it. And they could be a successful person. They could have successful businesses. It still doesn't mean they know how to be in a relationship or communicate or have how many people do we know that business-wise, man, they're so on point, but the buck stops there. They're a mess in their personal lives.
Yeah, because you could use the professional life to cover up the personal life.
Yeah, and maybe that's just they're really good at that, but they're a mess outside of there, and that's that doesn't mean you're a bad person, or it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It's just they can't handle it. They did you a favor, and do you want to be with somebody like that anyway? No.
And if you do want to be with somebody like that, then you have to look at yourself in the mirror. Like,
and if you do and they ghost you, you have no grounds to stand on, and you have nobody to blame but yourself.
So
yeah,
it all comes back to confidence. You have to have.
You have to have it. You have to have confidence. Real confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
And stop looking at all this false stuff out there, because it's just eroding confidence in guys. Young and old, it's eroding it because most of everything's fake. Just build yourself up, get a good group of friends, start eating good, start working out, get a good job. No matter what your job is, just be the best at your job. And have some goals and keep moving forward. That's all you could do.
And you have to really know your worth too. You can't at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, do you really want to be treated like this? If you feel like you deserve dirt, guess what? Get yourself some olive oil and some water, and you got yourself a great mud pie.
Yeah. And we always say this to our friends, know your worth. Like our friend is a great guy.
Mm.
You know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, has a ton to offer. And I'm always like, they got to earn that.
Yeah.
That just doesn't come out of the gate like, oh, here you go. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. No, they have to earn that from you.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I'm not just saying that because he's my boy, but you shouldn't just go out of the gate hot with all these good attributes and everything that you have to offer when they're not bringing anything to the table.
Yeah.
Anything.
Of
anything. Because most of them don't have anything of substance to bring to the table, and that's their fault. And you don't want to be with somebody like that.
No, and
No.
especially if you're trying to create a partnership.
And I don't care how hot somebody is. Like, there's a dime a dozen out there. That is not. There's plenty of girls out there, guys. Oh, she's so pretty. So what? You turn the corner, there's 5 more. Relax.
Yeah, last I checked, they're still producing people in this world. So
yeah,
there's no shortage of men and women.
There's a shortage of men. That's for sure.
Well,
real men. There's a shortage of real men.
Well, it's funny. I saw in Argentina how they had the the Trump of Argentina one yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you see this video? This guy's great.
Yeah.
This guy is great.
See how long he lasts.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully nothing happens. But man, Argentina, that's pretty impressive to go over there and actually win that election. So
yeah.
But this is, this topic is never really an easy one to talk about. Because it hits a lot of nerves and in so many different ways that you can take it. So, Greg T, as we look forward to, the holidays, and obviously this is going to air after Thanksgiving, and we'll have had our Thanksgiving deal. We're getting into Christmas and, approaching the new year, which the 2024 is, I think it's going to be the most important year of our life as middle-aged men, and for men and women in general, depending on how you look at things. We got
most people have their head up their ass, though. They don't realize that. They just think, oh, it's another election year. This affects a lot of different things. You say it all the time.
Yeah.
We try to tell you this affects everything from money to taxes to property to your way of life to everything. And if it doesn't directly affect people, they don't think about it, and it will directly affect you. But by the time you realize that, it's too late because you didn't pay attention beforehand. Sorry, I had to say that.
No, but you're spot on. And that's why people that are unhappy with the way things are going on, well, I mean, you kind of voted for it because you believe.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
One of my wife's friends texted her the other day. Hey, have you heard of fentanyl? What is it?
Wow.
I read the text. I saw the text. Where have you been? But that's the problem with this country. Right there in a nutshell. Head in the sand. No, how do you not know what that is? And you don't even have to watch the news that much to know what that is. This shit is everywhere. But for you not to know that is a problem. And guess what? Have kids. Problem.
Well, I heard something on the radio the other day that most people get their news from TikTok than they do. So
that's real good.
The fact that Bin Laden is being praised is
insane.
Yeah, it's insane. It's just really some wild times we're living in, guys.
All I can say,
wild times.
Young people out there, go to that country. Go to those countries, please. And just try to survive a week there.
Yeah.
1 week. It's not going to happen. You praise all these people, they will cut your fucking head off. And they want to. But you feel bad and you want to talk, oh, this is great. Go there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's insane. People have no clue what's going on.
None, but it's not only here, it's worldwide.
Yeah.
It's a worldwide And it's nuts. You and I are considered old and every other adjective behind the book, and we're not up with times. And I don't know. With ghosting and the way the social climate is, it's when we were younger. We always said this: we were born a decade too late. Because when we were growing
Maybe a
up,
few.
right? I mean, look at all like the classic like romances that you'd see on like sitcoms, right?
Mhm.
Even like going back to like my favorite couple, Dylan and Brenda from 90210. They were like that was it. But you go back to like the 80s when romance was glorified. It was given out. It was just like wow, like all the great 80s movies had some type of romantic overtone. In the 90s, it become a little more. They got a little more provocative, a little more risque. They could
Mhm.
roll with the times, but there was still a romance. There was still like love. Everything now that you're seeing out there today is, I think, it's more lust driven. So about whether it's sex crimes, whether it's God, that show on Netflix, Sex Life. Have you seen that?
No, I don't watch that shit.
Dude, I watched it a couple years ago, and then they came out with a second season. It's like
No interest. I have no
it's
interest.
like it's very suggestive. But I don't but I think there's a trend out there where, obviously they want to take God out of the country, but I think also too now they want to take love out of things.
Of course.
And you're seeing that, and it's just like even the stories now are complicated. Even like as a kid, like there's not much love. I feel there's not much love that's being out there and espoused. It's like you're going to see either violence on in cartoons or video games or this or that, not like love like we grew up on. And I feel bad for your kids more than anything.
Yeah. It's a tough road to navigate nowadays. Definitely way different from when we were little.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I think
Yeah.
ghosting kind of maybe like kind of culminates a lot of the things and a lot of the behaviors that people have nowadays versus what they had years ago. And like we said, it was a tough topic to navigate, but something that needs to be discussed. And for guys to realize, and even girls too, like don't take it personal. That's your
No.
best defense is don't take it personal.
Hmm.
But
That's it.
Greg T, any final thoughts before we wrap things up today?
No, man, just the big thing I want to drill home is just you have to get control of yourself if and when it happens to you. More than likely it will at some point in your life. Just you can only control how you react and go forward. That's it. So you might as well make it positive. Look at it as they saved you time and emotion and money and all this stuff and just move on. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's easy, but you have a choice and that's the only control you have in the situation. So you might as well use it to your advantage.
And moving on can also translate into forever progress.
Hmm. Yeah,
Sir.
moving on is just reps, and you can take that into business. You can take that into your personal life, your fitness, how you eat. It's just okay. Something bad happened, but I moved on, and I moved forward because bad things are going to happen in all parts of your life.
Hmm.
But it's how you react from that, and the more reps you have, the more at bats, as you call it, and you swing and you move forward. When you get into a situation with a business, oh, you know how to, okay, let me move forward, move on, fix the problem, move forward, pay the bill, pay the tax, move on, move forward.
Right,
That's all you
right,
can do. That's all
right,
you can do.
right.
Yep.
And Greggy T, wanna just give us a little insight on how the Forever Progress is going? I
Yeah,
know I
man.
just made a quick little plug there before, but
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
tell us more about it, man. Tell us
No,
more
it's good.
about it.
A lot of agents are starting to reach out, actually, in other states right now, which is funny. I thought other states would come quicker, but I mean, come later than my immediate circle. But it's they it's not one of these like get rich quick schemes. It's not I don't do flips and investment properties. I'm not This is not that type of course. There's plenty of people out there that do that. This is just strictly for real estate agents or people that are getting their license to be a real estate agent to help them to start off on the right foot and also grow and scale their business. And I have my 4 tiers that I speak about, and I bring all my experiences in owning my own company and managing a huge office, like you said, with 300 something $1 million a year in business. I just want to help all the agents make more money, but my end goal is to not be dependent on the company. I want you to be self-sufficient where you can write your ticket, you can go anywhere, and you can be your own boss, and you're only dependent on yourself. That's my end goal. That's what I truly want.
Very powerful stuff, folks.
None of these companies care about you. They don't. I've been with all of them. And I'm not saying I had bad experiences. Some were great experiences. But at the end of the day, I want everyone to be dependent on themselves. Because at the end of the day, that's all you have. They are not going to help you.
So, Greggy T, where can people inquire about your services or learn more about what you're doing?
Just head on over to foreverprogress.com or head over to Forever Progress's Instagram. You could DM me. It's all good. And I will answer your questions. And it's truly an amazing platform. I own it. And there's no restrictions. There's no censoring. There's none of that. That's why I chose the platform that I did. Great company. And there's no nonsense on there.
That's
so it's
awesome,
a
man.
real community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Greggy T, for any first-time listeners out there, or for listeners that just happen to forget how to reach out to us, where can people contact us, give us feedback, give us some suggestions, anything that they want to say?
Head over to EmpowerMan Podcast on Instagram. That's where we get our messages mostly. And then check out EmpowerManPodcast.com. It's a pretty cool website. You can catch all our episodes also on there. And you can read a little bit about Mike and myself and get to know us a little better. Definitely Mike a lot better. So,
and there's more to come too.
I'm sure there is.
The biography that's come out to me, unbelievable. Part two. And I hope, as again, this is going to drop this Sunday after Thanksgiving. So I hope everyone out there had a great Thanksgiving. We're coming into like my favorite time of the year, Christmas. Love Christmas. And I know you and I are just going to crush turkey and ham, and it's going to be protein bonanza. I got my Yankee candles in all bathrooms, so I am ready to go.
Well, you host. You have a bunch of people, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, man. Yep. I'm having a quiet Thanksgiving. I got enough food to feed 16 people, but what I like to do is my leftovers, man, and I save it. And if I want Thanksgiving in January, just take it out of the freezer. And especially with food costs nowadays, just make it. You're all set.
Yeah, man. So I want everyone, hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving and you ate a lot and you drank a lot. It's all good. A buddy of mine gave me a good cigar today, so I'm probably going to have that over the weekend. So thank you very much to Brian.
Well, Brian, that sounds very, very good. And I will be back up in New York for the Christmas, stopping by the Fedora compound. So, we will be out by your fire pit. I'm sure we'll be indulging in some type of tobacco activities.
Yeah, so, I just got he just chopped down 2 trees in his house, and I hauled them all to my house, and I'm going to split all that wood next week. So I got all my wood for next year because I always season it a year out. So
there you go.
Yeah.
That's the next thing you got to give us, our home improvement tips. Because I heard you through the grapevine, you put a sink in. No, a faucet.
Yeah, that was fun. Putting it in is easy. It's getting the old one out was the problem. But after a few curse words and only slamming something once, I got it out. I threw it out my door, and the new one went in about 10 minutes. So it's pretty awesome. So if you ever need a faucet now, I can do that. Just add it to the list.
Or you can be like me, who doesn't want to deal with that crap. I'm going to do
it. Yeah.
So
here, put this in.
Exactly. Whatever. Just get it done.
Yeah.
I have a firm, Klarna. I'll pay you installments, like whatever it takes. Just get it done.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, all right, my friend. Another great episode in the books. Episode on ghosting. Guys, just be aware and don't take it personal. That's the end of the day.
No.
And
you can't control what somebody's going to do.
Nope. And, we talked about love and compassion, empathy, and actually it does kind of work in this case because, again, everyone's fighting a battle they don't know about, and they're projecting it out on you, and it's just nothing that you can do to take personally.
Their problem, not yours. Don't make their problems your problems.
Amen to that, brother.
Yeah, man.
From the free state of Florida, I am going to sign off, Greggy T, and I cannot wait to see you next week.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next week. All right.